All right. Well, welcome everybody. We glad you could make it tonight. This is going to be kind of cool. I've had a chance to kind of get some information on this new app that we have available, and want to introduce Aaron. Kind of give you a little prefix on what we've been doing, and introduce Jason, and we'll get going.
Well, hi, everybody. It's so great to see you all. We are excited to provide this opportunity for each of you. This is really about a chance to enhance not just the athletic side, but the mental health side of what you all do as competitive athletes. And when I had the opportunity to meet Jason and the team, and he'll introduce you to the others, we were just really excited about what he was offering as an opportunity. And I'll also let him talk to you about why we thought this was cool on two fronts, both that it's going to help enhance your mental health game, but also that this is a new app. So hopefully parents and caregivers, you're on the call to listening with your teen, because we want the teens to buy into engagement, but really the parents need to sign off. And that's what we're kind of hosting this. So you can learn direct from those that are building the app about what that means and what it can do for you. The other side of this is just kind of the cool aspect of what it means to bring an app to market and what it means to go through that process. And so as our Thunderbirds Ace Club members, as our teens in our program, just kind of learning about the world and what's out there in terms of careers, this was so cool in both fronts and might help somebody in multiple ways. So I'm going to let Jason kind of tell his story and tell you all how he got to this place, and really about the app and what the next steps are, and then we can kind of circle back at the end. I will be watching the chat for questions, and so Jason, if it's like right as you're talking, if it pops up, I might shout it out at you. Otherwise, I'll wait to the end, and then I'll pepper you all with questions towards the end. But throughout anytime during the presentation, please feel free to throw your questions into the chat. Thanks. Take it away, Jason.
Thank you so much, Aaron and Greg and Nicole as well. I really appreciate everybody on this call taking the time out of their busy schedules to kind of entertain us a little bit. So, I'm going to talk about my story quickly and explain why I came to this idea and to build this company and platform to hopefully enable and help your kids become the best versions of themselves. And then we have some other things and the whole team will talk. So, but quickly, a quick background about me. My name's Jason Demers. I played 13 years professional hockey in the NHL. I just recently retired about a year and a half ago, and I'm now a broadcaster for the NHL Network, and I do a variety of other things on the media side. But why golf is probably the first thing you're asking, and for me, it was more the story of why I decided to develop this. And it was, throughout my playing career, I had a lot of performance anxiety, severe performance anxiety that, led to a lot of abuse of drugs and alcohol and a lot of burnout at times, injuries, a plethora of things that I didn't quite understand and just was taught, because back when I was playing was more, you just kind of, you roll up your sleeves and you play and you do what you need to do to make sure that you're playing and performing. So I never addressed any of these issues, and it got worse and worse. And, right around the time I was about to finish my career, I kind of stumbled into journaling and breath work, and, two things that are free and easily available for everybody. So I stumbled into that. It immediately changed my life for the better. It helped me with anxiety. It helped me with depression. It helped me with a ton of different things, and really allowed me to become the best version of myself, not just as an athlete, but as a person. And, the first time I did breath work, I tell this story a lot. I kind of wept and decided, how do I bring this to kids? And how do I allow kids an opportunity to have something that I didn't have? Because the more I did breath work, the more I realized that I was tracing back my anxiety to when I was a teenager, when I was 15, 13, 16 years old playing hockey. I didn't understand what those feelings were and how to harness it. I just thought if I kept working really hard, those feelings would subside. So, I decided that through a breathwork session with our chief wellness officer, who's on the call as well, Rick Moschel, that I would dive into this idea and see where it would lead me. And initially we thought our team, if we would do this the hockey route, how it would work, and it just didn't really work. And we pivoted and said, how can we affect and help the most kids possible? And we said, well, we're all in Arizona. Youth golf in Arizona is very, very prevalent, and it is probably the second most stressful sport for me after hockey, and I played it professionally. So I said, you know what, let's do hockey. We see a lot of these kids struggling and also trying to find a way to enhance their mental game, become masters of adversity, become the best versions of themselves as golfers, and also not just be so hard on themselves. So we started developing this platform. It's been about a year and a half. We're kind of ready to launch, and we ran into First Tee and Aaron specifically, and really kind of aligned and had a synergy of what First Tee is trying to do in helping kids and empowering kids and parents as well. And we said, we want to be in business with you guys, and we want to find a way to get this to kids and in the best and easiest way possible, and hopefully impact their lives, but not only their lives, but parents' lives, because we understand, and I understand growing up, my parents weren't professional athletes. They didn't understand what was the best trainer, what was the best food, is this coach a good coach? And at times they stumbled over themselves. And we hope that this app has the capabilities to kind of smooth out the edges for parents as well, and hopefully help you become the best parent possible for your child who's trying to become the best athlete they can be, and have fun all the while doing it together as a unit. So there's three aspects to the app. There's a journaling aspect, which is voice to text. We really have questions for kids 3 days a week that we want your kids to go through, and just to kind of check in with themselves, verbalize their feelings, verbalize if there's any negative or positive thoughts they had in a day, things like that. And then from that aspect, we teach them about breath work and a lot of different, Rick's going to explain a little bit about that here in a minute, but just about all the different ways you can breathe and how 95% of us are breathing the wrong way. And that leads to a lot of unwanted stress, a lot of unwanted anxiety, and at times bad decisions. So it's something that's free and it's simple, but we're not taught it. No one's ever taught how to breathe properly. And it seems like a weird way of thinking, but it does work. And I'm a testament to it. And I know a lot of people that I play professional sports with that also swear by it. So hoping to get that into your kids' hands. And then once the kids are able to complete journaling and breath work, we've thought it would be cool to, how do we get good content into their hands? Because kids these days are on their phone, they're scrolling, they're looking at this poison pill, and it consumes their every waking hour. And for the most part, it's negative stuff that makes them feel like everything's a 10, and that's not the way it should be. When you wake up as a kid, everything shouldn't be a 10, and you shouldn't be thinking you're not good enough. It should always be you're doing, this phone should be helping you in the best possible way. So the content portion of our application and app is videos from trainers in the Valley, pro golfers, golf coaches, nutritionists, giving your kids little tips and tricks that you might not otherwise have known or had, and you're going to have them readily available, and you'll be able to, even if you want, and your kid kind of resonates with one of these coaches or nutritionists, you'll be able to reach out to them and find a way to contact them, and hopefully that smooths some edges out for you and maybe mitigates some cost of sports, which is so incredibly high right now, and maybe just takes a little bit of stress and responsibility off your plate, and not feel like any decision could be the wrong one, or the last decision you make before your kid just has burnout. So I think all those things, we hope, and will help your kids, help you, and empower them. Like I've been saying, and I sound like a broken record, but we do truly believe that we can help kids become masters of adversity, and just take on the day and take on anything. And we use sport as a Trojan horse to do that. So without further ado, I'm going to kind of pass it over to Ricard Moschel. He's our Chief Wellness Officer. I met him. He changed my life in a big way. He's a fantastic human. He's worked with MMA fighters, university tennis at ASU. He's worked with professional soccer players. He's worked with professional hockey players. And he's the one that's kind of curated the whole breathwork side of everything and the questions within the journaling platform. So take it away, Rick.
It's a pleasure, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on here. Like you said, I've been fortunate enough to work with many professional athletes, a lot of college athletes that are national team Olympic athletes, and then also a lot of normal people, people in the Pentagon, I mean, all over. And so I've used these different techniques that I learned with everybody. And what I've realized is, over time, energy moves with sound, breath, and movement. So that is why we curated this the way that we did, because constantly moving energy, stagnant energy, you never sit in one spot. You're actually, when depression, different things that come through in our mind, it happens because of stagnant energy and stagnant thoughts. So when we're moving this energy, voice to text, we did voice to text so that you are talking about, you're not writing down, it's not like homework. You're actually talking about, you're moving that energy through your speech, and you're actually communicating, because once again, the phones, so many people communicate through text, they communicate through the different apps. They're not actually talking to each other anymore. So they don't know how to really describe what they're feeling. So the questions bring you to a place which repetition creates mastery. So we repeat certain questions throughout the months and throughout the year, and then others will be added for more extensive answers. And so also energy moves with breath. So breath work. So what you're doing is you have 25 minutes of breath work. It is carefully curated by me or my wife, Carrie, who both of us are breathwork facilitators. There will be a mantra with every single breathwork that is almost subliminally messaging them, their mind, with positivity and understanding and being their best selves. And after that, once again, there is the flow page. So it's one of those things where the more that you breathe, the more that you connect with your breath, it's connected directly to your autonomic nervous system. So the more that you can connect with your breath, you can take yourself at any moment when you have anxiety, nervousness, sadness, and anything in between. All you have to do is connect with your breath, and you could take yourself into your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and relax in between shots, as you walk up to a shot. And then, I mean, just at any time in between classes, just, I mean, at any time of the day. So it really does teach children at a young age how to speak about what they're feeling, which so many of us internalize all of our thoughts. And it also teaches us to breathe through the different feelings that we're having. And the breath work, I mean, the list goes on and on. It helps with sleep. It increases focus. It gives you the ability to navigate what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and so much more. So that's why we really pinpointed these things heavily in this app. And we really believe that, kids learn this at a young age. They're going to bring this into their later years. And it's one of these things where it's just a magical tool to be able to navigate anything that they do. Now, obviously, we want everybody to be a professional golfer and graduate into that realm. But if they're not professional golfers, what they will know is if they have a really tough job and they have, a deadline that they have to hit, they'll actually know how to breathe through that and actually take their anxiety or their nervousness and actually bring it down at any moment in time. And they're going to learn this at a young age, which most of our patterns we learn at young ages. So it's really giving them a tool to really learn how to show up for themselves and how to understand themselves as they come into sport and as they come into day-to-day life. That's kind of pretty much the easiest way to explain that side of it. I can probably leave it up to Tony now to take it from here.
Yeah, well, good evening, everybody, and we appreciate your time. I feel like there's not a ton left to say. We've coached these guys up really well, and I think we're all on the same page. It's an amazing opportunity. My background is with the front office of NFL teams and athletic director within the University of Michigan and Arizona State. So I've seen and built teams at the highest levels. Some of my insights also are lent to the fact that I have 3 teenagers under one roof and probably need my head checked at some point. But that's where our breath work comes in, right? So we're all trying to contextualize and find a harmony and stay present. My kids have been guinea pigs throughout this process. And what I've found, it's brought us closer. I have great relationships with both my boys and my daughter. And the idea of them being prompted to journal and then being able to verbalize some of that stuff and me see the transcription of those journals, it sparked and was a catalyst of conversations that we weren't having. I didn't realize that my 15-year-old was taking his baseball at bats, and what he was seeing is this, success and failure rate in this 1 versus 0, black versus white type of mental grading scale in his mind, versus are we having fun? Like we're forgetting to have fun at some point. If we're living and dying with every pitch, if we're living and dying with every putt, we can't really be present. We can't really enjoy what we're doing, and the longevity of what we're doing is always enhanced if there's joy involved. So that being able to contextualize our opportunities and contextualize our experiences is really something that we focus very, very hard on, to understand and make sure that it was present within the app. There's a cathartic nature to journaling, and, instead of, the success and failure metrics, we want to make sure that, we all understand that, there's, the cathartic nature of journaling is really, focusing on what can we learn? What did that experience teach us? Because that's, at the end of the day, really the takeaway. And so this is really a way that, we're using the technology to mechanize, some of that contextualization of our experiences. And why do we all love sports? I mean, we've got a hockey guy, we've got, somebody that's, been within the golf, as part of his business, and Ryan, and, with Rick, and martial arts, and all kinds of other sports. What we have and found that common ground and that connective tissue is really, our love for the sport. And where can we find something that says, okay, it's a microcosm of life, and so how do we use some of the lessons that sports teaches us inherently, which is why we love the First Tee, to make us better people throughout the rest of our lives, to make us better equipped to deal with some of the rigors that life will throw at us the rest of our lives. Oh, and by the way, have more fun and be possibly more successful at the game of golf, football, hockey, insert sport here. So that's really kind of the impetus to what we built, and why we're so excited about it, and why we're fired up to share it. So appreciate everybody, and look forward to answering any questions or working with folks going forward. So I'll kick it to Ryan if he had anything to share, and Jason can probably wrap us up.
My role on this team is really more with First Tee, I think, and partnering with them to figure out how we make this accessible and scalable to eventually everyone in the First Tee. This group is really special because you've already been identified and selected as really high caliber, high potential players and people. And so now putting this into your hands, this is really about personal growth. Sure, we're going to gain some skills as golfers, and you're going to get some access to some great feedback from instructors and nutritionists, but this is progressive. You are prompted 3 days a week to really build and stack habits. You can talk to Greg and Nicole and Aaron and any of these guys. Life is about stacking habits, right? And the better ones you can stack early on, the more successful you're going to be later. And so this is really progressive. This is built partially on AI. We're going to identify some things and be able to work through some things with athletes. And then you're going to get really tailored, customized opportunities to learn and grow in your sport. And so my role is really going to be to help scale that opportunity. We may be able to bring in sponsors. We may be able to give you additional opportunities through the app. We may be able to bring in some additional funders so that we can continue to grow the app and offer you more. And that's what I do every day in my job. I work in town here at the Society of St. Vincent de Paul as a chief philanthropy officer, bringing partners together to scale really innovative and great solutions. So I'm excited to work with all of you, the athletes, the parents, the First Tee, everyone on your board, because as I look at I got a little 8-year-old hockey player. He got named to the All-Star team. I'm looking at all the lines on the hockey rink and I'm like, well, what color's what? What does any of this mean? I never played hockey. I need help. Like, I need help to support him, right? And that's what this is, right? Tony said it best. This is the opportunity that parents and athletes can look at the same thing together and grow together and continue to bond together in that joint skill development. So I'm really excited to be able to scale this, to be able to bring additional partners, to demonstrate the real expertise that Rick and Tony and Jason have built in their lives. And I will be willing to support Greg and Nicole and Aaron and in any way possible to do that.
Thanks so much, Ryan. And again, that's kind of our elevator pitch, so to speak. And that was a one take. We didn't even rehearse that at all. So that's how deep we kind of believe in this. And I want to show you now because one of our tech guys unfortunately had a family emergency. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys and be able to take you through the app and kind of show you a little bit of what we're doing. So I'm going to see how this works and see how good of my tech savvy I am, seeing that I started a tech company. So if everybody can see that, this is right here is an example of the days of the week. So we want to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Obviously we did the 5th for all of you because we are here on the 5th and wanted to show you an example. So the kids will click into this. They will have a prompt and it is a golf ball of sorts to kind of show how your day's feeling. They can slide this any way they want. And then from here, as you see, I'm going to move myself out of the screen there. I'm tired of looking at myself. Right here is the questions. It's these prompt of the days. It just has them say, hey, kids, press the record button below, then take your time, answer the questions, let it flow. And then you're going to see they're going to tap this record button that's just underneath. And then they just speak. They just let themselves flow. They talk about their day. They talk about what did I do well today? What can I improve on, this and that? And then once they finish that, they go through, they save it. Once they're saved, they move over to the breath work section, which essentially has a curated breath work, which is about 20 to 25 minutes. It is all audio. Ricard Moschel curated this whole thing with prompts for this first month for the kids. The mantra that we selected for kids was I am all in on me. And we really want to drill that home to kids to be all in on themselves and trust their process and make sure that, listen, at the end of the day, being the best version of yourself is the best version for everybody. And that's kind of a lesson we can all take. And then the cool part about it is once they get through their journaling and breath work, they go over to our flow feed, which is a bunch of videos that essentially they can go through.
Hey kids, it's Rick, the breathwork facilitator from Find Your Play. Today, we're talking 4-9 breath. So the 4-9 breath is in through your nose for 4 seconds, expand that belly, expand that diaphragm,
4-9 breath,
out through your mouth for 9 seconds, nice and slow. This can be used in your pre-shot routine and also in between shots as you walk. This breath will help center you and allow you to just swing away. Let's breathe. And then it has an example of how to breathe in. The kids can follow along. And then also we have some trainers, as we're going to see here, teaching them about ability. Again, with all sorts of things they can go through the app. They can just have fun with it, enjoy it. There's endless videos. The more they can take, the more stuff to be post for them. And it just becomes a very interactive way of going through all of their exercises, hoping to help them out. And we have a lot of great trainers. This is a trainer that works in the Valley. He works on building MMA fighters, but he also studies how to work with all sorts of athletes, including golf. We also have some really fun stuff with some golf coaches in the Valley.
Travis Wiesa works
Best
for
advice
Branch.
for golfers growing into the sport: if you're not winning, you're learning. And being able to sit there and being able to break down a tournament, being able to say, okay, I didn't place where I wanted to be placed. Here are the 3 things that I need to focus on before that next tournament.
And
Best
that's
advice
in a
for
nutshell.
golfers.
And I'm going to get out of this now, but that's in a nutshell what we're hoping to bring. And for us, the content is endless, and we really think it's something that's very cool. And, you know, we've been shocked and super impressed by the amount of people that have stepped up to want to donate content, because this is tailored around helping kids and improving on kids. And people find it really fun that the things they're recording for us, they're speaking directly to your kids, and they're telling them things that will either resonate with them or not resonate with them, but it's stuff that can benefit them not only in their sport, but nutrition wise, workout wise, physicality wise. Because I know growing up in hockey and having the wrong trainer and sometimes having somebody that didn't guide me in the right direction could hinder my performance. So having that is so important, and we feel we have a good pulse within Arizona of the people that we trust and believe in. And there's so many people that are willing to help. So this hopefully opens up the community and really allows your kids to be put first and really help them become. And I think Rick said it a little bit, he touched on it, was listen, we want all your kids to become Scotty Scheffler. That's if we get everyone your kids in this chat become Scotty Scheffler or Tiger Woods, hey, that's a win on our end, and we're gonna take all the credit and give none of you any of the credit. But the thing we can't guarantee that, but what we can guarantee is that your kids are gonna be better off for this, and they're gonna be more mentally sound, and they're gonna be able to tackle the day, whatever anything life throws at them. They're gonna be able to handle anything. And we do think, to Tony's point earlier in the call, it's going to make you closer with your kids, because you're going to get an in-depth look of the way they feel and the way they're handling everyday life, and hopefully that creates a deeper connection between you two. Which for me, my dad was my coach. He was one of my he was my coach in minor hockey, and didn't never play pro hockey, but he was able to see an in-depth look into how I was playing and how I was feeling, and we had a very good relationship, and it benefited me to kind of have him by on my hip the whole way. So I know you guys do that as well. Golf is a very isolating sport, and most of the time they only have their parents with them, and they look to you guys to support them and also tell them when they need a little bit of help. So um, this is why you guys are here on this call. And again, just to wrap it up, finally, I really appreciate you guys taking the time, and it's truly an honor to kind of be on the call with everybody. And hopefully you guys are excited and have questions for us. And if you want, reach out to us anyway. We can answer some questions now, and I'm always available. So feel free to email me or call me.
I have a quick question, Jason.
Shoot.
We mentioned in your presentation about 20 minutes of breath work. What would you say would be, because all these kids have schedules that are crazy, what kind of time commitment do you think to do this right would be necessary?
I mean, I'll let Rick take this after, but for me personally, doing this, you know, to get through the questions, we wanted to build this so it wasn't a full day thing where the kids waking up and being like, oh my God, like I got to do this, I got to do my homework, I got to go golf, and then I got to do breath work and journaling. We wanted to make it so they were excited to come to talk about their day, talk about what they did well, know that they're going to get better, and have this little bit of content at the end that is not Instagram, it's not TikTok, it's similar, but it's all things that excites them. It's something they're passionate about. And for us, 20 minutes of breath work to 25 is ideal. You know, you can, once you get really good and get really comfortable with it, you can go for as long as you want. We had one of our founders who's not on the call. His son is 12 years old, plays hockey, and we got him into the breath work. He was one of the guinea pigs, and he does it before every practice. He does it before bed. He lives to go out and do breath work now because he loves the way it makes him feel. And he ended up getting so very good at it that it didn't take him 20 minutes to kind of get the feeling. It took him 5 to 10 minutes, and it becomes something where kids can kind of feel it out, and they're a lot more intuitive than we think and we give them credit for, and they understand how they feel sometimes, like I said, more than we give them credit for. So for us, it's really, it shouldn't take too long. Like, to go through those questions in breathwork, it could take 30 minutes, and then you can have fun on the app, and that's 3 times a week. So it's something that's easily applicable to your schedule. More so than, we didn't want to make it 7 days a week and really just hammer these kids down. We wanted to make it something that's fun, and it's like a treat for them to go and do this.
And also, real quick, I was going to add with that, piggyback that on everything, it's going to be a progression and it's going to have momentum. And I feel like at the very beginning, there'll be curiosity, but it's just a fact. Once you start doing breath work, I don't care who you are, old, young, anything between, you feel different. When you start to connect with your breath, your mind, your focus, everything changes. And when you start to answer the questions and you start to feel what it feels like after you start to do these things as the weeks go along, you feel the difference, and there's an excitement. There's the progression is the excitement, and the momentum is the excitement to actually learn more about yourself and feel better about yourself. And I think that as the kids go along, obviously it's a 2-month beta, but as the kids go along, an 8 to 10 to 12-month period, they're going to feel so good that it's going to be something they really look forward to. And like you said, it'll be 25 minutes of breath work. And I feel the questions at the very beginning, they're not as hard. They'll kind of progress into the latter months of a longer answer. But before that, it would probably be 5-10 minutes at the most, probably 30 to 35 minutes at the most. And I really do feel just after a couple of days, they're going to enjoy it that much more. And like you said, Tesh's son, I mean, I still get messages from to this day about how excited he is about doing the breath work. I'll send him questions every so often just so he could stay in tune and stay in touch with himself. And it really was a game changer for him. So I feel like it truly is just it's a natural progression, and it gains momentum as the kids learn more and more about themselves.
And if you have questions, drop it in the chat too. I've got a couple more for you, Jason. Greg, that was the one I had. Thank you guys for addressing that kind of heavy lift thing, right? Where it's like, oh, one more thing, but it's the one more thing that can help all the other things feel easier. So I think that's important to remember. So we saw that and we just kind of heard that word beta. Would you mind sharing with us what it means, like what stage the app is in currently? And then I have a couple more questions along those lines, but maybe quick, what stage is that in?
I think Tony, if you want to touch on that side, and then quickly before he does, I just want to say it's so cool to see parents and kids in here. I'm seeing the responses, and it's so very cool and awesome stuff. But yeah, Tony, if you wanted to kind of take that with where we are.
Our beta trial, this is the first group. So we will be looking for feedback. We want to understand what your experience is like on the app, because we want to make it more engaging, more fun. Again, if it's part of your calendar and all of our busy schedules, and the response is 20 minutes, 25 minutes 3 days a week is more time than I necessarily have. How can we address that? And we're looking for that feedback. So this is the maiden voyage and initial version of the app, and this group is our prime group. And so there's lots of things that we want to learn, but we also, most importantly, want to understand what makes this a better experience for both parents and athletes. So we're there. I think there was a question in the chat about who has access. Nobody can access the app if they're not invited. So we only have populations. So anybody can download the app, but the credentials and the gating require you to be part of a group like the First Tee to access it. And then your individual answers, only the kids and the parents will have access to your experience, your version. We don't see that. It's not stored anywhere. That is dedicated to each user and parent that is also has credentials to log in. So hopefully we're facilitating conversation between kid and parent.
So Tony, I don't know if this is you or Jason, you might be the kind of second part of this question. So, our call to action today, please keep writing questions if you have them, but our call to action today is, we're, as First Tee, we're offering this opportunity to you as the Thunderbirds Ace Club and as teens on your high school teams. And we're going to send an email out. How do they know what to look for in their app store? When will it be ready in the app store? And then maybe talk through the process of registering, as you were mentioning just there. And for me, I just want the parents in the room to understand, and maybe the kids too, if your parents aren't here, that there will be an approval process there to say, yes, I'm agreeing to join this app and do these pieces. Let's maybe stop. I'll stop my question there, and I know it's a long one, multi-part, but kind of what's our next step?
Yeah, so we will get anybody that wants to participate. We'll get their credentials from you, Aaron, from a email standpoint, contact standpoint. We will email each group, each parent and player group, their credentials and how to log on, and also a link to get to either iOS or the Google Play to download the app, and then have those credentials for them to log on specifically. Timing wise, we're looking like, next week is what as we're looking at for credentials. Also there's, the terms of use and privacy, to your point, to make sure that everybody understands that this is protected information, and your experience is your experience. We hope that you share, some of those ad hoc experiences with us so we can make the app better within this beta process. But your information is your own. Some of the stuff that we will ask you for will be some demographic stuff. Nothing that personally identifies any person or user. And at some point we will hopefully that people are either enjoying it. We may have some questionnaires or surveys throughout the process, that if you're kind enough to give us some feedback on that as well, so that we can not only make the app a better and more high fidelity experience for everybody in this group and everybody that comes after us, but also give us some benchmarks as to how you're incorporating this into your routine into your life, and give us hopefully some ways to measure your successes and your feelings about how this may have helped you individually.
So one more thing, Tony, because you mentioned it, is this feedback loop. So based on what you said, our team will get together. Most likely we'll send out a survey or not a survey, but kind of like a, hey, if after the call, and to the folks that couldn't be here, we'll send them the link to the recording. Say, if you're interested in credentials for the app and the link, send which email do you want us to send it to? We'll then link that back to you, basically asking for permission of what email from each of you would want the team to have, and we'll send it to the FYP team. And I have another question. I keep thinking of them, but we'll send you that list, and then you'll send out the credentialing. And then it sounds like you'll send out some surveys and some other things for feedback. We also mentioned kind of this 2-month kind of ramp up period. So what we're talking about right now is like 2 months, so that you all can get feedback in this beta stage for all of our teens and families on the call. We chose this time because some people are in high school golf. We've got tournaments going for First Tee. This is a big time right now. So I think that was really important why we chose these 2 months. Then maybe really quickly, after the 2 months, what happens then? Will they be able to keep going? Will it fall off and you're going to change it and then they start again? How's that going to work?
Well, we'll probably want to maybe either have another Zoom or possibly host the group in 2 months, and really kind of have some interaction and some feedback for that as well. And obviously a thank you for everybody that opts in to participate. We will still have it'll still be in the App Store. It'll still be working. Some things behind the scenes as we build a version towards launch. will be, being developed with the feedback of this beta group. So a lot of things for the group may not change after, 60 days. But then when we get, the launch ready app build out, and once we debut that, and then you'd update it on your phone, just like you would with any other app. And then it may look similar, it may look vastly different based on the feedback that we get with the group and the beta testing over the next 60 days.
Yeah, well,
Huge help.
yeah, it's very much this is the amount of months, the 2 months we thought that would most impactful, and especially not getting too far over our skis and doing a 12-month thing, but 2 months is where we're going to get the most feedback from your kids and the parents as well, and be able to really make sure that this is as top notch when we launch live, and also making sure that this is the best possible version of this beta that we can have right now for your kids and all you parents out there.
Great. I'm just going to call out the question in the chat so people can see it. You all mentioned AI. What do you plan to do with it? Ryan, thank you really quickly for saying that as the app further develops, it will help generate questions that are relevant to that particular user. For instance, if you mentioned that today was a 2 out of 10, it might prompt you with a different question than if you listed a 9 out of 10. So thank you, Ryan, for that. And then I'm assuming it's a closed AI system. And
that AI is not live yet. That's something we would build
Okay.
towards. That would be
Got
part
it.
of a launch.
Okay.
And because, to your exact point, Aaron, it has to be a closed AI, which is super important for everything that we promise with anonymity and protection of everybody's information. It's also wildly expensive because we're not pulling anything off the shelf and putting anything out into the ether where none of us control any of it, right? So yeah, when we do introduce AI, it will be a closed AI and proprietary to Find Your Play and Find Your Play only.
From from what we did with our founding kids, we found that they got excited to go take the app on by themselves and go talk and go once they kind of understood. And at the beginning, the answers were really short and the kids were kind of like a little reticent to kind of share. And they're like, what is this? And then by a week, 2 weeks, the kids were just sitting there, just gabbing away, talking to themselves. But also kind of, it's like talking to the future version of yourself and telling you that, hey, I had a good day today. I had some great shots. We had some amazing answers from some of our kids in our initial test group. That was just incredible to listen to the insight they had on their day at 12, 13 years old, talking about hanging out with their buddies and how fun it was to play golf and hang out with their buddies, and also how excited they were to come home and talk about their day. And school was a little bit of a bummer, but I liked such and such class, and it became a very, very good way for kids to vent. And then coupling that with, like Rick said, breath work, is you allowed to really kind of build a framework and also really drive home those positive moments within the breath work as you're just kind of repeating to yourself that, like I said, the mantra for our first month is I'm all in on me. And the kids just kind of keep hearing that I'm all in on me, I'm all in on me, or the journey is the destination. And it just reinforces these positive things. And I think parents will get a kick out of it as well and be like, oh wow, like this works for me too. Like we had one of our founders, I mean, I know Tony now does breath work, and Nitesh, who, like I said, was on the call, he does breath work with his son on the floor. And he goes in the room, and when his son's ready and done journaling, he jumps in and does breath work and loves it and enjoys it. And it's become this really cool little bonding moment.
But and one thing I actually did want to also add to it, and it's the word that I apologize for not saying, but there's a very important word that is attached to all of this, and it's the word mindfulness. And mindfulness is really connecting with your thoughts without having judgment upon your thoughts. It's just speaking, and it's allowing yourself to have thoughts, but being mindful and connecting with those. And that's a big thing with the journaling, is really connecting with your thoughts. And it's just speaking about them. And you can go into any top athlete, any top businessman. I mean, most people that are in the top, they really talk about mindfulness. Every single athlete, they will mention mindfulness. Magical book called The Mindful Athlete that somebody worked with Phil Jackson and the Bulls in the 90s. But it really creates mindfulness, and that's a word I really want to resonate with all the parents because it's one of the most important parts of this.
And Nicole, I'll just say one final thing with your question specifically. As we were creating the app, we were a little bit concerned as maybe, generations of old guys and gals that were putting their intellectual property and thoughts into this. We were concerned that maybe nobody would want to, engage with the journaling. And then we realized as we kind of went through with my kids and others, like we have a society and we have a generation that overshares on the phone. What won't they put on the phone? Right. In a lot of ways. Right. And so there's our reticence of what we put out there and what we can, share is not theirs. That is not their reality necessarily. That is not how the culture has presented these phones and these tools to them. So we want to use that for good, right? We want to use that for the power of the kid to like we talked about masters of adversity. Well, it's also masters of gratitude. So being present, both, getting through the hard times, but appreciating the good times. And so that's really where we try and strike the chord.
That's great, Tony. I'm my gratitude is filled for each of you and for thinking of this, Jason, and for tonight, taking your time to tell our families and our teens about this opportunity and kind of this cool thing to be on the front edge of this. And so later in your life, you can say, oh, I was part of the beta testing. Kind of a cool opportunity for everybody. So Jason, I'll leave you, I don't see any other questions in the chat. So I'm going to let you have the final word, but I want you to answer two questions within the final word. Very quickly, your favorite course to play in Arizona, and two, where Find Your Play, the name came from.
Okay. Yeah. Favorite course. Well, I'm a member at Mesa Country Club, and that beats me up every time I go play it. So I enjoy it a lot. But I mean, my favorite public course here is always Quintero. I just love it. It's kind of very remote, and I just enjoy it. The views are beautiful, and walking that course is very, like, you can't really walk it, but when you're walking the holes, it's great. So but Find Your Play, we said, we didn't say the mantra, or like our kind of a quote is, we say, find your flow and find your play is two things we say a lot within our team. And for me, when I played hockey, and in those moments when I would find, to Rick's point, the mindfulness, and I'd have those games where nothing could go wrong, and I felt like I was floating on the ice, and every pass was on the tape, and every shot was meaningful, and every hit that I gave was hard and thunderous. And I always would just say that I was just playing, and I was just in the moment. I was present. And a lot of the best athletes will say, it's the Mamba mentality, or you listen to Tiger and Tiger Vision, and that's just them being present. They don't know how to explain that innately they can get into that zone, and those are what the best athletes can do. Now, I couldn't do that on a regular basis. I needed to actively work at it and build a routine to get into that, because for me, it took a little bit longer. It wasn't as I had a gift from God to play hockey, but to get really and be really excellent at it, I needed to really practice and build a routine of stuff off the ice and on the ice. And, when I was doing all those things, it was like I was just playing. And then, we say find your flow, because, to me, the way I kind of have put this into words, the way when I'm feeling good is life's a river, and everybody's flowing down the same direction. And sometimes it feels a little choppy and it feels a little stuck, and you don't know if the boat's going to flip over. But if you just stay present and just understand that it's just going, the journey is the destination, you're able to kind of make some adjustments, whether that be journaling or breath work, understand where you are at in space, and then you can find that smooth river and smooth sailing and just flow. And it's something that, for me in life, post hockey, has been incredible for me. I've never had more fun doing this and building this, and to your point, you know, you're grateful for us, but you know, you parents taking the first step of even thinking this is, we're super grateful, because it's hard to not to say that anybody needs help, but we all need a little bit of help of knowing what's the best way to do certain things. And for you guys to seek all the tools possible to make your kids the best versions of themselves is more a statement to you guys than it is to us. So we appreciate y'all being on the call with us and actually believing that this could be something that can benefit your kids. And we're going to do our damnedest to make sure that it does benefit your kids and benefit First Tee, that does so many good things for the Valley. And that's just kind of, yeah. So that's my answer, my long-winded answer to that.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you. Look for emails from us, and Jason put the website in the chat, and
Yeah.
we'll be in touch.
Founder video, what we talked about a little bit, and give some pizzazz. And again, reach out, anybody in the chat, any of the parents want to reach out to any of us, feel free. My door is always open. So
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you.
have a great night.
Bye.